16 years has went to finally getting a refresh for this mid-size truck. Today, Rick from Brandon Nissan has given us the 2022 Nissan Frontier. This is your S-Cab in your super black exterior. What's new? It's a full redesign on the exterior. On the inside, refreshed, nicely appointed interior, upgraded tech, room for two more in the back. But is this body on frame better than the Ford Ranger and your Toyota Tacoma? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're gonna go over all the specs and details, starting now. The refreshed Nissan Frontier ground clearance will be at 8.9 inches, which is right on point with Toyota Tacoma and the Ford Ranger. No LED headlamps, but you're going to get the Halogen. The grille is going to have a modern structure with the Nissan badging outlined in white, Frontier on the top, just to top the cake. Fully length box ladder frame, body on frame construction, a width of 74.7 inches, a height 72 inches. The hood has those aerodynamic lines that stress performance and rugged capabilities. And you know what? At the end of the day, you can do that with this Frontier. You got your air vents, which are non-functional, which would look a little bit more aggressive and more beefy in the front if it was. This is set with your standard 16-inch steel wheels, the disc behind them at 11.1 inches, the rear at 11.3. They're ventilated. Now, when you're comparing it to the Toyota Tacoma, the rear is going to have your drum brakes. This one, ventilated discs. So you're going to have some more performance driven. Because we do not have the Pro 4X and it is not all-wheel drive, we're going to lose some of those suspension setups. Electronic brake force distribution, an independent double wishbone front suspension with the stabilizer bar, overslung leaf rear suspension, a length at 210.2 inches, a wheelbase 126 inches. Everything in the super black. So the exterior, I do like the elements that they do, because on the side it keeps all the heritage of the Frontier, even though this is not a four-door. With your suicide doors, the modern styling with the wraparound taillights, and even into the rear, nice and clean Frontier badging, Nissan outlined in white. You have your reverse sensors, your backup camera. You have your spare tire tucked underneath here. Only thing that it's missing is dual exhaust outlets. It would be nice to see that, because even Honda on the Ridgeline has decided to put it. It gives it a little bit more of an aggressive status. And the towing, up to 6,720 pounds. A max payload, up to 1,867 pounds. Now the Ranger will be the best in this. The Toyota will tow about 80 pounds more, but this will beat the Ridgeline. So when you're looking at different trucks, especially for the mid-size segment, it definitely has the capabilities to do everything needed. Going inside your cargo, it's going to be a soft to open. The bed length is going to be at 73.3 inches with a width of 61.4 inches. Between the wheel well housing at 44.5 inches and a depth of 19.4 inches, giving us 43.3 cubic feet of cargo. The Nissan Frontier S-King cab is going to have a carryover engine that was new back in 2020. It's a one-size-fit-all, similar to the Honda Ridgeline, but the Nissan backs it with a 3.8-liter V6, producing 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque that's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, achieving 18 to 24 mpgs. And this, by the way, is the best-in-class horsepower, comparing it to the Ford Ranger or to the Toyota Tacoma. 0 to 60 around 7.5 seconds, which is going to be faster than Toyota, a touch slower than Ford. But you know, I like what we're looking with these type of numbers. It just gives us something that is moving forward, and I like that Nissan has incorporated that and gave us the styling of a performance vehicle that has some rugged capabilities. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2022 Nissan Frontier S-King cab as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Nissan Frontier S-King cab, headroom, no issues for someone tall like me, nor is leg room, and I'm 6'3". It's going to be a little bit more space for headroom than Toyota, a little bit more leg room than the Ford. You're going to have a new dashboard, so it's going to be more settled in this one because this is more of a base trim, but you do have a pocket that's larger that you can put cameras or your cell phone. You have the upgraded 8-inch infotainment. We don't have navigation, but it is touchscreen. You can go through your audio settings and you have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, Bluetooth connectivities, reverse camera, which will show you your trajectory. It does have a reverse tow line, and you can take that on or off. And also in the gauge cluster, you'll see that it has your reverse parking sensor, so it does make it easy. And in that gauge cluster is a 7-inch information display, which goes through an array of information. You can check your audio settings, your driver assist, go through your settings, your speedo, in digital, off-roading, and your gauges. So you have full capabilities of everything you need. The seats are going to be a cloth. They're going to be manual adjustment for both the passenger and the driver. It's in a charcoal with a little bit of a pattern. It is a comfortable sit. It's going to be more durable for an everyday use or a work truck. And even if you buy this just for your own pleasure, it's still going to be a comfortable vehicle because you're almost at 9 inches of ground clearance. So you can go through a little bit of off-roading capabilities. This is not a 4x4 though, just to keep that in mind. As for your elbows, it's going to be soft, more or less, more on the sporty side. Open up in here and you're going to get some storage with the 12 volt, some more storage here that you can put your key fob, a larger cell phone. Cup holders, you could easily fit a 16.9 ounce water bottle. I would say a 32 is max. I do like the gear lever, and you got the oh my god handles right here if you do something really crazy. And another area for storage that you can fit multiple cell phones. So you do have those functionalities, plus your USB, plus another 12 volt, and your climate control. You are going to lack a little bit on storage because you're not going to have a dual glove box, just a single one. Other than that, it is all cleaned up and more modern in the interior. The door panel is going to be more harder materials because of the trim we're in. One touch up and down for just the driver. It is dual pane windows in the front, so it's going to be nice and quiet even in the drive. As for storage, I would say 5, 6, maybe even 7 16.9 ounce water bottles. The steering wheel is multi-function with the Nissan badging, and you can adjust it up and down so that way it makes it easier for you. But the hard part is for me to fit in the back, so I'm going to adjust the passenger seat so we can see how I look. Entering into the back seat, I have adjusted the passenger seat all the way into a position where I could basically barely fit. And you can see I can actually fit back here. I am completely against the front seats. However, headroom isn't necessarily too much of an issue. You do sit at a 90-degree angle. Fitting two people my size is not necessarily going to be comfortable, but it is doable. You do have some storage that you can fit, I would say a 44 ounce, and you can fit a small cell phone. That's pretty much it. You don't really feel claustrophobic. You just feel up and forward. So it's not, again, the most comfortable positioning in this back seat. The seats do fold up, but the floor is not completely flat. You do have a little storage tray there, but it does give you some cargo space. Taking the 2022 Nissan Frontier S King Cab out for our test run. The nice thing that Nissan does is it makes it very easy. You can really just pick your trim and how much you want to spend, because all of the engine is going to be the same transmission. The ride quality will be altered a little bit depending on if you want any off-roading capabilities, but for the most part, it is a pretty smooth ride, even if you do go and upgrade to the Pro 4X. As for visibility, you're going to see in all trims without any issues. And the best part about it is that they give you those capabilities that you can still sit at almost a 9-inch ground clearance. And the length, it's not necessarily going to be overly long, so it does make it a little bit easier with that. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is going to get about almost 3 lanes. So it is a longer vehicle, and if you do go over any potholes, it's a pretty smooth transition because the suspension is pretty smooth at the end of the day. Green light, and giving it some gas with that 3.8 liter V6, over 300 horsepower at its best. And it does a fantastic job at what it needs to. As for looking on the side, you're not gonna have too many issues. It's a little bit of a longer vehicle, obviously, still a mid-size pickup truck. You do have your blind spot monitoring, so you don't really have to worry too much with that. And Nissan does a good job with the safety features that they have. And I like the fact that you have the adaptive cruise control even in this tier. So you don't have to necessarily break the bank to get all the bells and whistles. You'll still get a lot of the safety capacity plus the adaptive cruise control. Giving it a little bit, and that's the best part about a naturally aspirated V6. You can get your job done. And I mean, super quiet, comfortable. It almost feels like a car for this body on frame structure. So it is surprising, especially when you're looking to go on a long journey with the vehicle. If you need to travel 45 minutes to an hour, like most commutes, depending on where you live for work, you can do so with comfort with these cloth seats. Now, there is 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike, because anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The 3 things that I like is it doesn't matter the trim, and I've said it in multiple reviews in the Frontier. You still get a lot of the capabilities, you still get the towing capabilities, you get that payload, you get the safety, you get adaptive cruise control. So I mean, you can save some money and you still have exactly what you want, a brand new refreshed vehicle. The second thing that I like about it is the fact that the maneuverability, even though people complain about the weighted steering wheel, you can still move in and out of lanes freely without any issues. 281 pound-feet of torque. Here we go, guys. It's lovely. Now, just driving it on a daily basis, you're going to hit about 2.5 RPM, so it's not necessarily too bad with that. And you know what? When people make the wrong decision of what lane, just let them get in front of you at the end of the day. The last thing that I like about the vehicle is that it's comfortable and it doesn't matter the trim, except for the back seat. As you can see, when I was sitting there, it wasn't very comfortable. 3 things that I dislike about the vehicle is the back seats. I get it, people like getting these type of trims, but you know what? Just get the 4-door. You're gonna be happier. You'll have more space and you'll have more capabilities. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the fact that they don't offer something to give you a little bit more performance driven. And the reason why I say that is when you get into a lower trim, you typically get a smaller engine. Stopping in the middle of the road, more or less around 10 miles an hour, giving us some gas, and we're not gonna go crazy. This is just kind of a normal drive. And the last thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the fact that you do not receive enough charging ports when you get into the lower trim. You really have to spend a little bit more money and open up the bank account in order to get sufficient charging ports, especially if you are going to fit 4 in this S-King cab. Now, if you are using it for daily use, work truck, long journey, comfortable ride, you're not going to have any issues. Just set the cruise control, let the car drive for you. You don't have to worry. Just again, with the harder materials, everywhere I put my elbows, I'm kind of feeling it. But I mean, you got to take good and bad. You know, you got the visibility, you got the power underneath it, you have the towing capacity, and you have all the specs that you need, and it's fully redesigned except for the internal components. I wish that they would have done a full, complete redesign. I'd like to thank Rick here at Brandon Nissan for giving us this 2022 Nissan Frontier S-King cab for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click that subscribe button, check out the details, the merchandise, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.